Yo, we are here with Death Unto Madness. It has been a hot minute since we have played. I'm excited, though. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Yeah, life's good. Life's good. Let's go ahead. So Chad isn't with us right now. He'll be on in about an hour and a half or so.
Like 2 hours?
Yeah. And he'll show up when he shows up. And I have a scene planned for him, but I have ideas for scenes for all of you. You guys have an idea, we can totally veto it and you do the thing you want to do. But I have some ideas as for kind of things that were going on with your guys' characters. I'm excited to jump into it again. It's been a while, so let's refresh ourselves on who the characters are. I'll go ahead and read Alpheus's stuff first. Also, the character sheets updated. The Burning Wheel character sheets look different now. Some lovely person went through and updated them with all sorts of new fun features. My favorite being the fact that you don't have to type in /r space D6 anymore, because there's a little button at the top of your sheet where it has Artha, the little D6 icon there next to Fate. You can just click that to roll the sixes whenever you need to reroll stuff. There's little modifier things that will come up for that. That'll help you do it. That'll be easy too. Alpheus. His beliefs are, my people are my highest priority. I will oppose anyone who disgraces us. The working class needs to be guaranteed protection from outside militaries. I will use my status as a politician to see this happens. The king only cares about himself and his top advisors. I will see that justice is done for what happened to my family. Instincts, if those I've lost are mentioned, I will grow angry. Always treat others of the lower classes with respect. Always act deferential to those in power. And he has the traits strong-willed, cramped hands, pragmatic, broken in, and driven. Also, he is a Sinian. So all four of the characters are Sinians, and they all have the cultural traits: religious, intellectual, and competitive. I am excited to play. Cyrillus, who are you?
I'm Cyrillus.
Yeah.
My beliefs are, the king is not well, but he should not be killed. Even if he needs to go, I'll defend him with my life. The sea industry needs more support, and so I will attempt to convince the king to provide it. And politicians cannot be trusted, so I will investigate the conspirators against the king.
Okay, so quick question. Do you want to change any of those beliefs for this session? Things have gotten just a little bit more intense for Cyrillus, given his current predicament. Right. Do you want to change any of those to kind of reflect that, or are you still going to try to go for those?
I don't know. So I guess I'll just go with them.
Just go with them and then see what happens this session. Okay, sounds good.
We'll see. Maybe I'll die, because it sounds like... My instincts, if I go to an establishment, then I will order a drink. Mm-hmm. If someone I'm with refuses a drink, then I will chide them about it. If someone other than royal blood works in politics, I will question everything they say. Mm-hmm. Okay, traits. Mm-hmm. I have the veneer of obedience. I'm a drunk, and like the cultural traits: religious, intellectual, competitive. And I have 2 call-on traits: iron stomach and sea legs.
Nice. Ophelia, who you be?
Alrighty. I believe Avra must be protected. I will make contact with Avra and convince her to take her fate into her own hands. Mm-hmm. I believe Althea has extreme potential in the spiritual realm. I will train her in the ways of my gods. And I believe I will kill the king on sight. So I will avoid him at all costs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Cool. Instincts?
Oh, right. I forgot about those. I always choose an animal over a human. If my mother's mentioned, I fidget with knives. And I always collect raven feathers and black orchids.
Nice. And what is your long list of horrible traits?
Okay, so speaker of the secret language, cruel, lunatic, loner, religious, intellectual, competitive. Oh, I didn't need to say those.
Yeah, you're fine.
And then we have faith in dead gods, mark of privilege, zealot, and lame, and forked tongue, which unfortunately is not literal.
Good stuff. And Avra, last but not least, who you be?
Beliefs. I believe I am in love. I will convince Celadon he can effect good by assuming the throne in marriage to me. I believe my father is ill by someone else's doing. I will get answers through my sister. I am an accomplished falconer. I will impress the noble courts.
Nice.
Then instincts. I always excuse myself from the room when in an intense coughing fit. I need to change the wording of that because it's so hard to say.
Mm-hmm.
I always have my falconry gloves on hand. And if someone less fortunate asks for something vital I can bestow, I offer it. And my traits are Your Grace, boaster, formalist, religious, intellectual, competitive, and die traits, birdie talk, and mark of privilege.
Nice. All right, cool. So I have a few ideas as to stuff that's going on with your characters, but they're your characters. So like what's going on with you? Does anyone have an idea of what they're, just to give a quick recap of where all your characters are currently? Cyrillus just threatened one of the king's most valiant and loyal supporters because he was given false information that apparently that he was working against the king. Cyrillus didn't know. Ophelia just tried to contact Avril. She succeeded in contacting Avra, and they had an interesting conversation about. I mean, what did you even talk about? It was like
not much. It was more like just a reunion.
Yeah, it was a very strange reunion where not a whole lot of information was actually shared. And that's kind of what's going on. I mean, obviously you have your two acolytes. And Avra, you have stuff with Caledon going on, your bird handling, your father. Does anyone have anything immediately that they're like, yeah, I want to work on this thing?
It's been so long, I haven't even thought about it that much.
Yeah, and that's entirely fair. That's what I figured, so that's why I was thinking pretty heavily about this thing. So I think let's start with Cyrillus. Let's start with Cyrillus, and let's figure out the immediate aftermath of that whole thing that just went down. I think you get a summons from Bastian, the captain of the Royal Guard, played by Hugh Jackman. Basically I mean, you know what it's about, but, he doesn't say necessarily. So you get called to his, I guess, I don't know, he probably doesn't have an office or something. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think? Where would he, want to meet you? Because you have, there's, a barracks in the palace. Maybe you're just, I don't know, maybe it's just, you're outside the barracks, and he's in the courtyard. Maybe we see the training yard, right? We see the a bunch of other soldiers of the Royal Guard doing practice and workouts and other things like that, right? And you walk out of the barracks and he sees you. He has his hands clasped behind his back, and he looks at you, and he's tall. He has a nice beard. And he looks grizzled, but what's the word? Gentlemanly, right? He doesn't look like a slob or a he looks like a nobleman, and because he is. And so he has his hands behind his back, and he says, "Cyrillus, would you walk with me?" And he just starts walking without your answer.
And I walk.
Yeah. Yeah, and he says, as he's just kind of walking around the training yard, right? He just says, "I have just received a rather troubling report about your recent conduct. Do you have anything you would like to tell me?"
To be honest, I don't remember enough to even make a response.
So, yeah, I mean, basically what happened, right? You've been working with this guy named Titan, who's supposedly a spy, working with the king. We know in canon that he's actually a spy working against the king. And he, let's see, there was something that he picked up on during the one of the politicians' meetings, right? Just general assembly of the politicians. And he found a shady minor politician who was apparently had been sending a letter to a servant, and the guess was oh, this was where they had the accomplice of the assassin hiding, and Titan was like, this is, I think, what's going to happen. And then he tortured the guy and basically got him to say what he wants him to say. And the information he relayed to you was, yeah, this nobleman is working against the king. Also, he has the accomplice hidden in this house. And you just went on that information because he was able to convince you of it. And so you ended up threatening a poor innocent woman who didn't do anything wrong and this loyal nobleman in support of the king. And neither of them were very thrilled about your intrusions.
Okay. Everything I have done so far has been so I've done it all so I can support the king the best way I can. I've been trying my best.
So Cyrillus just starts breaking down into tears. Yeah, so he frowns at you and he says, "And why would you think that, Cyrillus? After what you did, what could you have possibly been thinking?"
I'm grasping at straws. It's really hard to get information.
I mean, and this is the thing, right? You could literally just say, like, no, hey, this is the information I got and I was acting on it. It depends on how Cyrillus wants to approach this, because the main issue with all of this, right? Cyrillus is not good at social skills.
Correct.
Right? So if he's trying to like assuage this guy or persuade him that he was doing the right thing, he's gonna fail, right?
Right. Okay.
So I don't know. It just depends on the tack Cyrillus wants to take. He's gotten himself into a mess. Does he want to try to double down on the skills that got him into the mess and possibly succeed? Or does he want to try to take the route that he knows he's not good at, but he knows is the right one? Like, you're in a bad spot here.
What a question to answer. I mean, what path would I be following if I just told him the information that I had? And that...
Well, let's start with that, I guess. Yeah, you can just say that without him making a roll. You can just tell him the thing, and then, yeah, we'll continue the conversation from there, and then there'll probably be a decision point.
Okay.
So what exactly do you tell him then?
That I have a contact.
Okay. And your contact
has been helping me sort out the conspiracy, look for clues and stuff. And I've been like acting on the information he's given me.
Yeah.
Ugh, I don't like that.
He's still frowning. He's basically just been frowning perpetually through this conversation. And he says, "And who might this contact be, Cyrillus?"
His name is Titan. Where is he from?
He's supposedly from the information he told you, he's from here.
He's from here.
He's a spy for the king. Is the idea.
He's a spy for the king.
His frown deepens and he says, "A spy for the king approached you."
Cyrillus is so dumb.
Approached you to help you investigate this.
Yep.
And he says, "Now, Cyrillus, I know that I gave you leave to look into this matter. But I have to be entirely honest. It was done because of a suggestion from the nobleman, actually, that you threatened, one of the king's inner council, who, when advising the king of the situation, suggested that you be given a meaningless task through which you could harmlessly think you are doing something to help the king, but in the meantime you are out of the way from causing any further problems. That was the task you were given, Cyrillus. And instead, you have done something that has ruined the very careful balance we have here. And now you're telling me that a man who you met where?
In the Kyrides quarter or something?
In the
right?
Kyrides quarter. And he told you that he was a spy working for the king, and he wanted to work with you to investigate the attempted assassination. And no part of this was suspicious to you whatsoever. Is that what I'm hearing, Cyrillus?
Well, I didn't know that I was given busy work. So I was actually trying to help. I can see that it didn't work.
And you say this man's name was Titan, Cyrillus?
Yes.
And he makes a gesture to a guard who's like a couple yards away, and this guy runs up to him and he says, "Can you look into something for me?" And then he just informs him basically to look into that whole thing, and the guy runs off, and Cyrillus looks at you and he says, "You should be praying fiercely, Cyrillus, that you have not jeopardized the king's safety tremendously. You have indeed upset a delicate balance, and I cannot protect you from what the king will do with you when he finds out what has happened here." And he seems to consider something, and he says, he seems to be just really kind of concerned about this whole situation, and he pauses momentarily. If you want to input something, say something.
Nope.
Just looking properly abashed. Okay, so you just want to submit yourself to the chain of command, basically.
Well, I want to hear what he says.
Yeah, okay. I think he looks at you and he says, "Given the situation, Cyrillus, what do you think that you should do, that I should do with you?" And he's kind of doing that dad thing, right? Where you let the kid choose their own punishment, and if you choose too mild of a punishment, you're in more trouble than you would be otherwise. He's so disappointed in you.
Well, I don't know. Ooh, I don't know.
And so there's a couple of options. Honestly, this is, I think, probably a good place to step out of the character for a moment and talk player stuff. Where do you want to go with Cyrillus? Because I can see a situation where this gets drastic enough where you're in enough trouble that you should either step down from the royal guard, run away.
I'm thinking I might need to run.
Right.
I might need to flee.
But
that's what I'm thinking. I want the king crazy.
Yeah. I want to make sure that you're cool with whatever direction we go in, because I could.
I'm good.
Okay, so you're
I'm
down
for anything.
Okay, but what do you think your preference would be? Because we have a couple of options here, right? One, you try to stick it out and hope that you can still stay in the Royal Guard and have to deal with whatever consequences you might have to deal with to stay in the Royal Guard somehow. Two, you say to the guy, like, I'm going to step down. Like, I step down, and that might be a possible option where you could get out of a bigger punishment if you just, like, resign as a royal guard. And then you'd maybe have to make a roll. There maybe have to be something there where you would have to be, like, do it gracefully enough that there's not going to be more consequences, and they'll let you walk away from that. There might be a bigger conversation there. Or you could be like, all right, I'll give myself up to whatever you say, and you know it's going to be bad, and then you're secretly going to run away because you're like, yep, I can't get out of this, so I'm just running. Those are the three main options I see.
The third one is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, okay. All right, sounds good. So Cyrillus is planning on just exiting, just being like, I'm done with this. Okay, sounds good. So how would you respond then, knowing this? How would you respond to his thing of like, what do you think should happen? Because one thing would be like, you know, you could just go along with it and say like, I'll do whatever you say, but also that would be a falsehood. So this is a delicate situation you have here, because he wants an answer from you, right? He wants you to like understand what you've done and like to tell him like where you think your place is now. But if you answer if Cyrillus is like, I'm gonna run, and he answers in a way other than that, that's a lie, right? So you have to tread carefully here. What do you think?
Can I say I will step down from the royal guard because it's obvious I shouldn't be here because I'm stupid. But I still run away because technically it ain't lying.
Yeah, I get you. So you're going to try to play the middle line there. Okay. Let's see. So what do you exactly say to him then?
I see how egregious my error has been. Therefore,
Maria's just getting a kick out of this.
It's probably best for us all if I quit. Not quit. Not say quit. Step down. That's
Step
better.
down, yeah. Yeah.
Here's my 2 weeks notice.
Yeah. Here's my 2 hours notice.
Ooh.
So he looks at you and he just seems to be thinking about that. And I think let me look. What kind of, I'm just trying to get a feel for Bastian himself to see like what his response would be to you given who he is. These are not good traits, my friend, to help you. Yeah, he is apparently not the kind of person to be lenient with this. So I think he looks at you and he says, I don't think that's an option, Cyrillus, for you. I think if you had stepped down after your first offense, I could have done something. I could have given you a way out. But there has to be someone to take the fall for this, and it can't be me. I have too much important work to do here. I'm sorry. And you can see on his face that he is about to like tell the guards to arrest you, basically. Like,
can I like
your window of I was gonna say, yeah.
Is that stupid?
Your window of freedom is going very quickly, and yeah, you could make a run for it.
Ooh, will that just make it worse?
I mean, at this point, it's either like you stay and take the consequences, and they could be like execution, or you run now.
I'm gonna run. Let's go. Chase scene!
Okay, so is this Cyrillus literally just running immediately, or is Cyrillus gonna like punch him and then run? Like, are you gonna try to do something where he like is dazed in the immediate? Because I think Cyrillus understands that if you just run right now, he will immediately bark the orders and people will be after you in a second. If you did something to like distract him or knock him off his guard momentarily, you might have a better chance to then run. Because the people will be like, what just happened?
Over there?
Exactly, yeah. You could try that, but
I'm not going to do that.
I mean, let's take a look at your skills. What are you good at?
Yeah, I know I have decent, like, spearing. I'm not trying to kill the guy.
I mean, you could, like, smack him in the face with a spear.
Right.
We could say you're, like, next to the weapon racks out in the training yard.
Right, I'm thinking like that. Maybe with the butt of a spear, or even just like a smack with a blade, but like not like the cutting part.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Sure, let's escalate this. Let's do it. Right. So I'll roll his stuff first. He doesn't have a weapon on hand, I don't think. Let's see. He does have the spear skill though. Let's see. What would he be doing here in response? Yeah, I feel like you would be rolling spear in response to like catch the spear or something like that, right? Okay, so this is going to be his roll. This is the roll you have to do against. So 3.
No.
So Ob 3, you have a 4 in spear. You can fork in brawling, right, to give you 1. Do you want?
So is that a modifier 1?
It's a modifier 1. I don't think there's anything else off the top of my head that I can see.
Okay.
What's your?
Can I do an Artho?
Yeah. Do you have? Yeah, you have 1 persona. So remember, persona is something you can spend. You could get 1 extra dice in, but also keep in mind you can spend persona to. I would honestly keep your persona. Because if you fail this, you want to keep that persona in case someone mortally wounds you or you get into a situation you can't escape, because then you can spend the persona to like get out of the situation or survive the mortal wound.
Okay. Because it's a good chance I might need that.
Yeah. But after the fact, if you get any 6s, you can re-roll 1 or 2 fate, right? To re-roll some dice. Okay. So, but that's after the roll.
Here we go.
All right. No 6s.
Is anyone surprised?
No 6s. Well, you have a wound, so that's the main thing that's happened. But you can spend 1 fate to reroll 1 of the failed dice if you would like to. You have 7 fate, so there's no reason not to, really.
Yeah, no, I'm going to. How do I do that?
So now because we have the new thing, go up to the top, the top of the character sheet where it says Artha and the D6 next to fate, up the top.
Yes.
Click on that. Put a 1 for the ob that you need, the remaining ob, and then a 1 for the dice, which will be the next thing then when you click submit.
Okay.
There you go. Perfect. Yep. That's all you needed.
Okay.
Nice. Okay. So tell me what this looks like.
I mean, I'm like, oh, okay. Then I grab a spear. Pop! Skedaddle.
Just right across the face. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he just biffs it to the dirt, and he's very surprised. Like, I think you've shown yourself to be a rather, like, you're not necessarily spineless, but, like, you haven't really had much of a, like, firm backbone when you've interacted with him thus far, and so he's not expecting you to just suddenly get a backbone and smack him across the face with a spear. So he's just, like... it doesn't really hurt him a whole lot, right? But he's like, and so was your intention basically just to like daze him enough so you can get a running start?
Yes.
Okay. You're not actually trying to hurt him.
No, I don't want to like. No.
Okay. Yes, because I was going to say, if you actually like hurt him, and you got caught again, you'd probably just be executed immediately, right?
Yeah,
like,
no, I don't.
Yeah, you might
Cyrillus ain't smart, but I don't think he's that stupid.
Exactly. Yeah, he has a 3 perception, but he's not really dumb. So you smack him across the face and you book it. You just book it across the training yard. I mean, you're gonna make a roll here, but you'll get an advantage die because no one's expecting this.
Right, okay.
So what is your intention? Is it just to escape the palace area and get lost in the city?
I think I gotta get out the city.
So out of the city entirely.
I gotta go.
Okay, sounds good. So are you? So this is the thing. The city's really big. If you're making a sprinting test, I feel like this is just going to be to get out of the palace. But then after that, you can probably make another roll to get out of the city without being caught. Right? I think there's probably two different things here because you're not going to dead sprint the entire way out of the city.
No, right?
You would pass out before that.
Okay.
Okay, so you're going to roll sprinting in the bean learned there.
Okay.
Oh,
where am I?
Wait,
oh,
I need
there
to
I am.
change that. There you go. Speed, based on speed. I need to change these around. So you have the right one. Okay, cool. Yeah, so click on the D6 with sprinting. You get 1 modifier. And I will make a roll for...
Oh, there it is.
Real quick before you roll it.
1 modifier.
Yeah, real quick before you roll it, before you like click submit on the last thing, I'm going to roll the speed test for...
Okay.
For the guards that will be chasing you. Okay, only a 1. So actually put in a 0.5 for the obstacle, because then it will double to 1. Because you're basically neither of you have the sprinting skill. You're just using it untrained, which is just a speed test, basically, right?
Okay.
So yep.
So 1 modifier, and then point. You said 0.5.
Yeah, 0.5. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Additional ob 0, right?
Yep. Whew. So tie goes to the defender, but I think that's you in this instance. So you're good. Yeah, because you're trying not to be caught. So so cool. And this is like we see this epic chase scene. Would you like to describe for us a couple of points of it? Right. So you book it out of the training yard.
Mm-hmm.
Bastian recovers himself and then says, After him! Mm-hmm. He must not be allowed to leave this palace."
Mm-hmm.
And then a bunch of guards run after you. What are a couple of like vignettes we see from this chase scene as you like run through the palace?
So I'm running. I have the spear. So we're going through the halls. There's like people. I don't know if I need to roll for this. I hope not.
No. You've already succeeded.
So like I like there's like a couple people and I'm like hitting them with the spear on the leg so they fall. So like block them. It's like
nice. So is this just like, what is it, minor politicians that are like going to some meeting and you run past them and you just like
probably
whack,
yeah
whack
maybe
them,
there's a
them.
few guards around places and I'm like oh yeah don't need them to
also
be able
start
to get me
you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you just leave a record, like a wake of felled people in your wake.
Mm-hmm.
Do we see a classic like you jump over a table sort of a thing?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
100%.
And then I think what happens is some of the people who are like behind you call out to the people at the gate. What do you do to like and then they start closing the gate to the palace because they're like and then what do you do? I mean, you're gonna succeed on this, but like what do we see? What cool thing do we see makes you actually able to get out of the gate in time?
I think like some girl's bird is like flying around and accidentally runs into one of the gate people.
Yeah,
so
like, it starts freaking out because of what's happening.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, so this bird just like and the guards just like fall over themselves. Because I think they're like playing dice or something like that and weren't paying attention to the gate, and then this bird just starts flying over by them and they just trip over themselves, and then you manage to sneak out the gate. So you're in the city proper. I think you're gonna have to make a roll here to get out, right?
Okay.
So this is less about sprinting and more about like navigating a city now, which you're not as good at,
Right.
unfortunately. Let's take a look at what you do have, though. How do you think you would try to escape, given the skills that you have?
That's a good question.
Because, like, one of the skills that might come in here is streetwise, which is like navigating. That's literally the skill for navigating a city. But if you can finagle out of rolling that skill, it would probably be helpful to you.
Yeah, because
one thing you could do, because you have a relationship with Hector, your cousin, you could say that you run into him and you get him to help you escape.
Sounds great.
Because you can just decide that he like shows up because you have a relationship with him. You don't need to roll any circles to do it. And honestly, Hector probably would want to go with you once you explain the situation, because he would also be kind of responsible for what just happened.
Very true.
So you want that to be the case?
True. That sounds great.
Okay, cool. So you're running, right, and you turn down an alley as you kind of like lose the guards for the moment, and then you start to book it around the corner again, right? Like you do that thing in a movie where you just start to sharply turn around a corner, and without looking where you're going, because you're like looking behind yourself, and you run straight into Hector, and he's just like, ugh, and he drops like a pouch of money that he had as he's like counting, and he's just like, Silas, what are you doing here? I thought you were
Hector, we gotta go. They're after me because we messed up bad. We gotta get out of here. They're gonna kill us or something.
He's like, what are you talking about? I don't understand.
Like, our search for the king and how we messed up a lot.
What do you? And I'm trying to remember. Was he even around during that?
He was.
Because I know you had people with you. Was it Hector? We can just decide. I don't think it matters.
I think he was.
Okay.
I know he didn't go in the meeting with Titan, but I think he was there with us, and I think I was like.
Okay, so he's relatively apprised of the situation. Okay, yeah. So I think he says, "What are you talking about? You're trying to kill you over that? I thought that you would get another flogging or something."
Well, he said that there was a big mistake. He said I made a pretty big mistake, and there was going to be severe punishment. So, I don't know if they want to execute me, but if the king learns,
if the king learns what, Cyrillus? That you bullied a nobleman? We've done that before.
That we may have accidentally been working with someone against the king.
What? And he grabs you by both shoulders and he says, "What?
I was tricked by this guy named Titan. I thought he was on our side, but apparently he's not."
So what are you saying? They're going to try to kill us? Me?
I think so.
But you made the mistake. It wasn't me. It was.
But you were with me sometimes.
So he starts to get this look on his face, Cyrillus, that you've seen on him before, and it's the look where he's going to try to sell you out. Like he's starting to, not even maybe he will do it, but he's starting to think about it. He's starting to be like, will they not kill me if I just turned him in? And you recognize, because he did this like when you were children, like all the time, right?
Don't you dare, Hector. Don't you dare. I'm your cousin? I think I'm your cousin. Yeah, I'm your cousin. Don't you dare do this to me.
Or what, Cyrillus?
That's a good question.
Like, how are you going to convince him that this isn't a good idea and you need to run?
Persuasion isn't one of my skills.
It is not. You could try to just intimidate him.
Yeah, that's smart. I could run you through right
here. Basically, like, you're just going to say, like, I'm the better fighter. Like, if you're going to try to take me in, I will just kill you. Like,
yes, I gotta go.
So basically, you give him an ultimatum. You're like, you're coming with me and helping me, or I will kill you. Like, okay. Yeah. Go ahead and roll intimidation, I guess.
Oh no.
You can fork in command.
There it is. Oh, my intimidation isn't that high. Okay, modifier's 1, right?
Yeah, modifier 1. Let me just double check what his... He does have a will of 4.
Oh, no.
I will give you another modifier dice, actually.
Okay.
So you can put in 2 there. Because I think Hector's... If you're not necessarily... You don't have necessarily a strong backbone, but Hector is totally spineless. So, like, he's very receptive to this sort of thing.
Okay. You said what was... Wait, what? Sorry, what am I doing?
So you're going to do intimidation.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 modifiers, ob 4.
Okay. Oh, gosh. Yeah, I did not see that happening.
0. Oh, man. So if you wanted to, you have 6 fate still. You could roll one of the failed dice. You would have to get 3 6s in a row and then a success. It would be ridiculously implausible, but you could still do it if you wanted to. Okay.
Doing that.
So, yeah, I think he looks as... Oh, so go ahead and... We haven't been marking these.
Oops. Take out...
Yeah, mark...
one
I already did that for you.
Oh, okay.
But go ahead and mark the tests that you've done. Mark a difficult spear test. So one of the D's on spear, okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wait. On spear, yeah. None of the R.
Did I mark a routine?
Yeah, you did. The D.
Okay,
yeah.
difficult.
Mm-hmm. And then mark one of the bubbles on sprinting, or the aptitude bubbles. And being learned.
Oh.
And then mark a challenging in intimidation.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, so, I mean, I think probably what he does is he just tries to attack you. Like, he maybe makes it think, like, he's just like, all right, Sairless, all right, fine, lead the way. And then you just, I think you're so angry and like distressed at what's happening that you just like start stepping away, and he won't get any like advantage dice for like he's gonna take you by surprise or anything like that. But this is just the way that's framed. You start to step away, and then he just like grabs out his spear and just tries to stab you. Like it's gonna be fight time. So he'll roll his stuff. He probably wouldn't just go straight for killing you. So his intent is going to be to like knock you out, but he will use his like spear to do that, and he gets 1 modifier dice. Okay, so your ob is 2.
So spear.
Yeah, I assume. What is your intent in response? So this is what he's trying to do to you. What if you win? What happens? Obviously, he doesn't
don't actually want to kill him.
Yeah.
So probably either knock him out. Yeah, probably knock him out.
Yeah. So it's just, whoever wins knocks the other out.
Yes.
Sounds good. Yeah. Go ahead.
Modifiers. Do I have any?
You can do brawling. Obviously. I don't think anything else though. So it's just gonna be the 1 modifier.
And then what's the ob?
Ob 2.
Okay. No.
All right, you got a 6, so you can. I would go all out, and I would spend 2 fate.
Yes.
2
fate.
So go ahead and do the top, the thing at the top of the screen, the fate little thing.
So remaining ob 1.
Remaining ob 1 and dice 2.
2.
There you go. That's all you needed. And you're the defender again, right? Because he attacked you. So you do it. I mean, describe this to us. He tries to go for you, And what do you do?
Yeah, he like tries to whack me on the head with the spear, and I like take mine and I like disarm, or I like spin, and like his spear flies out of his hand and then whap him in the head.
Sounds good. And you just cold stone, out cold onto the floor, onto the alley ground. So, Hector's not going to be of any help. What do you do now? Do you just leave him there, or? Oh, he has a pouch of money.
Oh, I take that.
He apparently won it from gambling or something. Do you want to take anything else of it? Do you want to look through his stuff?
No, because I don't need to waste time.
Okay. But you do.
And then,
you grab his pouch of money.
Yes.
Sounds good.
How far away is the port? Because don't I have connections in the bar?
Yeah. You could go to the bar. Yeah. That would probably be the best place to go right now.
That's where I'm going.
Cool. Sounds good. Let's see here. I'm trying to just double check what you actually. Oh, you have a house.
Oh yeah, I do.
You're gonna have to do something with that. Where is your house? Did we ever decide that? Like, where is your small cottage?
We might have decided where it was, but I don't remember. It might have been like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
My brain, I don't remember if this actually happened. We might have thought it was like somewhere near the palace and like an area where like soldiers lived and stuff, but I don't remember.
Okay. Well, yeah.
If that actually was a thing.
I don't think it was like out in the country or anything like that. So probably going to be useless to you.
Yeah.
At this point. So what do you want to do? You have a cash die now. What do we got here? I'm gonna find it.
Okay. Can I stow away on a ship?
You could certainly attempt that. Yeah.
The way you said that.
But
I know that's the way it works in this game.
There's going to be several things that will happen before you actually accomplish that, but...
Right.
Okay. So your first step is to go to the bar, the Lonely Cliff, or whatever it was. Okay, yeah. So I think you can just get there, fine. You're not trying to like escape the city yet, so I think you can just get there. And then I think let's cut to another character. So we see that you head off towards the Lonely Cliff, and cool, awesome. This is fun so far. Ophelia or Avra, either of you have ideas as to what you might be up to?
Really haven't thought about this.
Yeah.
Very much.
Totally fair. So I think I have something for you, Ophelia, though.
Okay.
So you're out in your grove, right? Your glade or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And what are you up to currently? Just, randomly. What do you happen to be doing right now? Normal everyday sort of thing.
Sitting crisscross on the ground with my snake.
Of course, like you do. Yeah, so you're just like, petting him or something. And I think what happens is Althea comes out from... You let her stay in your cottage, right?
Yeah.
Okay. She comes out from maybe it's like the morning and she just woken up and she walks out and she has her salamander across her shoulder, right? Red. And she goes ahead and she just sits crisscross next to you. Just matches your pose and stuff. And I think at first she says, what does she call you? Like mistress, probably?
I don't like that.
What would you want her to call you?
I don't know.
It would probably be mistress, I think.
I guess so. I guess it has to be that.
Mm-hmm. Because you're not a lady, so.
But also, this girl's insane. And so I feel like the fact that she's even staying with me, I feel like she has this kind of up here, like...
Oh, certainly, yeah. But, I mean, also, mistress doesn't have to mean, like, mistress of the night or anything, right? It's like the feminine equivalent of master in a lot of situations. So, right, this is her, the equivalent of her saying master if you were a guy. Right, it's like, she says, mistress, I have been praying to the gods, and I still do not hear their voices. What am I doing wrong? And we see just off to the side, we see off to the side, what's his face? Perrin, still kind of like slumped in like a makeshift tent that he made like off on another part of the glade.
That poor boy. I could do so many things with this girl.
That's terrifying.
No, I don't know if I want to be more mean to her or if I'm being mean to her and I'll just be mean to Perrin and I want to like adopt what's her face? What's her name?
Althea.
Althea? Okay. Because that's really mean. Oh, that's so bad. Because I could make it a whole, like, you have to sacrifice something and make her kill her salamander, but I don't think that's probably a good idea.
Also, so Ophelia, personally, that's not that you wouldn't be able, like, that would be bad for you. Red is, like, some sort of, like, spirit member.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Okay.
That, like, communicated with you, so.
Oh, right. So... I want it to have something to do with the salamander, though. Maybe... Okay, so does she know that her salamander's like a demon or whatever?
She knows she can talk to it, so she knows it's not just a normal animal, but honestly, given what you've been probably telling her about the religion... She probably just assumes it's like a messenger of the whatever we named the mischief animal, Nikaya, Nikaya, whatever her name was.
So maybe I tell her because she's been trying to pray to like the gods.
Yeah, and the dead gods. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think I just tell her that that's too big for her. She's a little baby. And I don't know, just tell her that her salamander's more than what she thinks and that she needs to spend more time talking to him.
Okay.
And say something about like not praying to her salamander, but like
using the salamander as like a focus for the prayer.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You know what? Let's do this. Let's have you make a roll.
Okay.
There are several things this could be. The most obvious one would be like demonology. What do you think? If like basically, I want you to make a roll to like say that that's true in the world, that this will actually work for her to like have this salamander be, because the salamander basically, as far as you know, is like a demon of some sort, right? Like some sort of spirit that serves the dead gods, right? That's the kind of mythology you're used to. But whether or not it can be used as like a focus to pray to one of them, we can decide now with this roll. So yeah, I mean, what do you think? What do you want to try? You can make an argument for several of the skills, and you can obviously fork the other ones into whatever the role is. But
yeah, because it could be gods wise, couldn't it?
I think so.
Because it's
because it could also be about whether or not the gods can be communicated with through these things, rather than focusing on the things themselves as the object of study. Yeah, sure. Yeah, if you want to do gods wise and then fork the other stuff in, you can.
Okay, so gods wise. So how many modifiers is it gonna be?
Probably cult doctrine, cultist wise, demonology, heretical doctrine. Yeah, so 4, probably 4. And then of course, after the fact, you can add in. Well, you get to decide. You have to decide now, but you can have that astrology die be a thing you do.
That can go bad, right? I forget every time.
Yeah, so basically what it automatically open ends either way. So if you roll a 6, it will re-roll and you might get more successes. If you get a 1 on it, it will automatically re-roll and you might get more failures. It might take away successes, basically.
I can keep it dead.
I noticed.
Okay.
And I can tell you what the ob is before you decide that. See if you need another.
Yeah, I'd like to know that because I feel like this is kind of my strong suit.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'll need it. But...
Let's see. Using an animal as a focus to pray to a dead god. Is this a common knowledge of the subject? No. An interesting fact? No. Details? Uncommon knowledge? Rare goods? Bizarre or obscure? Freaky details or specifics? So this is the thing. You have the wise gods wise, not dead gods wise. If it was dead gods wise, I feel like this would be easier. Like the ob would be lower because that's more specific. Because I think normally you probably can't use animals to pray to just any god.
Well, there's the whole birds thing. Like, is there a tie with that? Are they?
Well,
also
so this is the thing is. The only god in the mythology that is a god of like animals is the Nikaya or whatever her name was, the dead one. Okay. So, and this will you can decide some details of that. I think that I'm gonna probably make the ob be ob 5 though. It's gonna be and this is basically just to make the fact that you want to be true, that she can use this salamander as a focus to pray to a god, one of the dead gods.
Okay, that's hard. Is that hard?
Well, given what you have, you're rolling 9 dice against, or just even without the astrology dice, right? You're rolling, or not 9, sorry, you're rolling 8 dice against ob 5. Let's take a look. It's let's see. It's a routine, but given, it could be up in the air. It's in that range of maybe you could use another die.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll do the astrology thing.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, click on the D6 next to God's Wise.
Okay.
And put the modifiers as 4.
4. Okay.
Do you want to spend... You have 1 persona. You probably don't want to spend it, but yeah. So go ahead and just put 0 for Artha and then a 5 for the ob. And then after the fact, you'll roll another D6. Oh, there you go. Didn't even need it. But you will have to roll it again because you'll have to roll the astrology because you might take away successes, which would be bad.
Where do I do
that? So I don't think there's a spot on the character sheet to just roll a 6 yet. Actually, yeah, go ahead and actually just use the fate thing. Okay. Just put. It doesn't matter what you put the remaining ob as because that doesn't matter. But just put the die as 1. The dice you have as 1 for the little thing at the top of the character sheet that does.
So dice 1.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you get a 3. That doesn't do anything. That's actually good for you. Yeah. You just didn't want it to be a 1. That's all that mattered. So you're good.
Cool.
Awesome. Yeah. So that's true.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And I think as I'm telling her that, the salamander looks at me because I think the salamander knows.
Oh yeah.
What it is.
Oh yeah.
And so whenever I'm around it, it just is kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This
Cool.
is so interesting.
So you tell her to use the salamander as a focus, right? And so I mean, is this basically like you want her to pray right now sort of a thing? And she's going to do that? See if it works?
Maybe. I think not with me. Well, should I be right there? Yeah, maybe I'm right there, and she like has her eyes closed, and she's like talking to the salamander or whatever, and the salamander and I are looking at each other, and I'm just like, come on, do the thing. Like, make this work. Something like that.
Okay, cool. Let me... Because this is like... I'm trying to think of what she wants to happen exactly. Because she doesn't have faith in dead gods as a trait. That's obviously what she's working towards.
Yeah.
So I think this will just be a roll towards that end. And if she succeeds, she will get a piece of information or knowledge, some sort of nudge from one of the dead gods that will kind of show her that she's going in the right direction, and she might be able to work on getting that trait and actually having the direct access. So I'll have her roll a heretical doctrine roll, probably what she's doing. Except this is probably... Why does she not have ritual? She should have ritual. Because that would be like knowing about it. Yeah, I think she's going to have to... Let me just double check what doctrine can like specifically be used to do. Describes the tenets and beliefs of a particular religious faith. Offshoot, the popular religion. All right, I'm going to make this a difficult test for her with the heretical doctrine. So it would be easier if she had the skill ritual, which is like an actual, like you're doing a thing, but she's instead just going to use heretical doctrine to try to figure out what the ritual should be and just use your knowledge to figure it out, which will make it more difficult than if she had the skill ritual, but still possible. So she is going to fork in doctrine and foreign doctrine and religious history and temple-wise. And she'll get an advantage die for the fact that you made up. And I'm going to give her a fork for dirty secrets wise, which is a skill that she has. And I think that kind of qualifies in this situation as this whole situation being, the focus being this whole thing. It said like a dirty secret. So she has 6 modifiers, 4 dice on the main skill, but I think I'm going to make it up 6. So that was not a very good roll for her. She does not have any other 6s. I think she'd have at least 1 fate though. So I mean, I feel like she'd care enough about it to at least try. It's pretty unlikely, but she'd want to spend it in it probably. So nope. No luck. Okay, so she does this and she just ends up like she's concentrating and then she's like muttering to herself under her breath and then she just eventually just slumps. Then she turns to you and she says, "Still nothing. I suppose I'll have to keep trying."
I think I tell her to just take a break and like stop trying so hard. And I think I tell her like the gods know that she wants to get in touch with them, and so she's done what she can and she's done like her part, and if she keeps trying she's just gonna burn herself out. And and so she just needs to kind of sit quietly for a while, and they'll come to her. Question mark?
Is that true, Ophelia?
I think so. Because that's how I kind of think happened with my story, maybe. I can't remember the very first details, but I kind of imagine little hover-year-old me being exiled and just being like completely empty-minded because of everything that happened, and I'm just sitting in the woods just like, I give up. And then the gods are like, no. So I feel like it's that sort of situation, maybe.
I want you to make another roll for that. I'm curious if that is. I have another idea of what might be true if you fail this roll.
Okay.
But I'm interested in which one it might be. So let's have you make a. It would be another God's Wise, I think, if you're down with that. Oh, you got a routine on that one.
And then how many? Is it 4 again? No, because there's not demonology. How many modifiers is it?
For this one, think cult doctrine and heretical doctrine can be forked in. So just 2. I think the ob on this one is going to be an ob 4.
Okay.
So you're rolling 6 dice against an ob 4. Might want to use astrology.
Oh.
Oh, you actually got 2 6s. So I would spend 2 fate. You got a few there. And then you get to reroll 3 dice.
Okay.
Right, because you get to roll 2 6s and one of the failed dice if you spend 2 fate.
Okay. So I do the little fate
Mm-hmm.
die.
And you put in 2 for the remaining ob and 3 for the dice. There you go. Perfect. Awesome. Yeah, so Ophelia, yeah, your kind of like emptiness of mind is what led the dead gods to you. And so you're telling her, and it's true, if you do this, they will reach out to you. Like trying too hard, attempting to contact them like this is one way to do it, but the way I did it was just by not trying to do anything at all, and focusing on the nothing, right? The void. So do you... I feel like you're... I don't think she would just necessarily immediately listen to you, right? She's insane, and she's a young person who is stubborn. So I think you're going to have to roll something to kind of like get that through her head that this is what you need to do. Otherwise, she'll probably just secretly keep trying. It's not falsehood because you didn't lie. What do you think it would be then instead? Are you just telling her this matter-of-factly?
Well, it's hard because I really have this urge to be really gentle with her at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And like encouraging almost, but not in a super friendly way because I'm Ophelia. But what's the oratory one mean?
So oratory is like the skill of speaking to crowds. And we've, there's situations in which you can use it on one person. I'm not sure this is that situation though.
Okay.
Because usually it's like, the mechanics of speaking to a large crowd, the using flowery language and poetic speech and all that stuff. But it doesn't sound like that's what you're doing. So I could see it either being ugly truth if you're doing it matter-of-factly, like this is what you got to do, and if you don't, you're dumb. Or you could do persuasion, so like this is in your best interest. You should do this because I care about you. Or you can do soothing platitudes, which is just like trying to soothe away her like her frustrations and her stress with the situation, to just get her to see clearly, basically.
Yeah.
None of those are skills you have.
Yeah. Is there any that I'm even a little bit better at?
The only two like social skills that you have are falsehood and oratory. So.
Well,
Turns out, Ophelia, you're not good at being nice.
but I want to be.
Then you got to work at it. You got to try skills that you don't have and eventually get them.
Yeah, I want to learn the soothing platitudes one.
Mhm.
Because I think it's a good contrast, and if I do it really well, it'll be really cool. Because that's like completely opposite to my.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead and click the little add button in being learned.
Okay. And type in.
Type in soothing platitudes.
Oh gosh, platitudes. Yeah, I think that looks right.
Yep. And then the skill that it's or the stat that it's based on is will. So change that perception drop down to will instead.
Okay.
All right, you're not good at will skills. But yeah, exactly. Your ob is going to be 3. And you can't fork anything because it's being learned. But yeah, I'm just going to double check. I'm pretty sure the ob is 3 because I think it's based on her will. Soothing platitudes. Yes. Yeah, I think that's basically it. You're just going to have to hope you get all 6s.
Well, I guess nothing. So is there an additional
No. Yeah, no 6s. There's almost no chance of getting it. So sad.
Well, this will come back up later then when she inevitably.
Exactly. You'll say you'll get to say I told you so. So go ahead and click a difficult test on will up at the top there, because you only mark a bubble in the skill if it counts as a routine. So for you in this test, yeah, difficult on your will, but advancing your will help you get soothing platitudes because you'll be better at it in the future, right? Okay, so cool. You try to do that. This is Ophelia grating her teeth, trying to be nice, right? She's trying to calm down, but she's frustrated because you can see in her eyes that she's not going to listen to you, and you're frustrated about that. Yeah. And so this ends up being you being frustrated at her and trying to soothe her, but that's not working because you're just stressing her more out.
Yeah, I think I'm also real mad at the salamander.
Okay.
Right? Because he was supposed to do the thing, and he didn't do the thing, and I was looking right at him, and he didn't obey me.
Cool. Yeah. So I think what happens is Althea stands up and she pretends like she's going to go do what you said, and walks off. But you can tell that she's gonna just go out into the forest and just try it again. And so you're there for a little longer, right? I guess the first question would be, do you do anything about Perrin? Like, what's your kind of deal with Perrin right now? What do you want him to do here?
I should have thought about this, but I definitely want to take a different route than I have with Althea.
Yeah. I'm down to see the contrasts of like you're kind of trying to be really nice to Althea and you're just gonna tear this boy down.
Yeah.
And build him back.
But like in a goodish way, like I'm not just gonna he's not gonna be my torture.
Yeah, you're doing it for a purpose, not to just randomly torture him. Yeah.
Right. Because I think the way that Althea is going to come around is she's going to learn how to just kind of empty your head, and she's going to be more peaceful in that way. And then I think Perrin is going to be the other way. I'm curious, what was your idea for the other?
Well, I think I'm still going to have it happen, but I'm curious what you would be doing with Perrin in the meantime, and then it will kind of interrupt you, I think. Or maybe not interrupt you, but at least like bookend it.
Okay. So I need to know about more lore to come up with something.
I mean, you can just make rolls. That's what they're for.
Yeah.
What kind of thing are you thinking about for this?
Not much, but I feel like something like physically draining. Like he's gonna have to work at it to like get in touch with the gods, and Althea has to do the exact opposite, you know? So
Oh, okay. I mean, you could just have him do hard physical labor.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I made him build his own little thing.
Right,
Like,
yeah. We had him roll and everything for that, didn't we?
I can't remember.
I think we did.
You know, I think he needs to get an animal. That's kind
of course.
Yeah. So I think he needs to go find his little friend.
Interesting. So how do you frame this to him? I think he's like still sleeping under his tent right now.
Okay. I'm gonna wake him up real mean.
Of course, yeah.
Should I wake him up? Should I like, cause I could pour water on him, but that's kind of wasteful. Or I could just like kick him in the rib, and just like
yeah.
Yeah. I'll probably just kick him, or like break his little tent. Cause is it very stable? Can I just like kind of knock it over on him?
I'm curious.
Like, a little roof like falling on his sleeping self.
I don't actually know if it is or not. I'm almost positive we made some sort of roll. But I can't. I don't know. Yeah, I would imagine it's at the very least not like super fancy or anything.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to be that mean. We'll let him keep his little house. I'll just kick him a little, not too hard, just like.
Yeah, to get him up.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah. Looks up at you, kind of just dazed, and maybe flinching a little.
Okay. I think I say, "Get up," and I do my thing where I just walk away and expect them to follow me.
Okay. Yeah, he groggily gets up and then still kind of like cringing in on himself, just follows you.
Yeah. And I think I take him to, I think my favorite spot to like talk to people is that one place I went with, I think her name's Zoe, but that little like circle thing of graves.
Oh yeah, sure.
I think I take him there.
Where you buried your last cult?
Yeah.
Nice.
And then I have Skion and Vernon.
Yeah.
With me.
Mm-hmm.
I think I like go in the circle and the Raven Skion, right?
Yes, I believe so. That sounds right to me.
Okay, so he's like up in the tree, and he flies down and lands on my shoulder or something. And then, if I remember, I kept my snake like in my sleeve sometimes, like wrapped around my arm. If I remember correctly, and so that's sort of happening. But he can see that both the animals are there.
Cool.
And how should I preface this? Because I could ask him like, "Do you know why I have these, or do you know who they are?" Something like that. Oh, I think I say, like, like, do you know why I chose these animals or something? Because I remember earlier we said that the snake and the raven and I all have the same color eyes. And the snake was black, and the raven obviously, and I have like dark hair, and so I like chose those two animals because they were like similar to me in that way.
Sure.
And so, and is there any like physical similarities between Althea and her salamander? Like, is the salamander's red, right?
Yeah, and she doesn't have red hair or anything. Not really, I don't think.
Bummer.
I think maybe it has a lot more to do with personality or something than...
Okay.
Maybe with some people it's looks, but I don't know if it's with everybody.
Okay. But yeah, I think I basically just tell him, like, you need to find an animal and you need to choose the right one, and you have to, you know, make sure you choose it because it has a similarity to you, and it has to be like physical or...
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So he says, how do I do that? And like, this is the thing, right? Ophelia, you know, this isn't like you just find a normal animal, right? Like, and you tame it. Like, this is like an animal comes to you. You put yourself out there in some way, and like a spirit familiar that is shaped like an animal is really what comes to you.
Yeah. Which means I think it has to be super creepy. Because he could just, like, I could say, like, you just have to go in the woods and sit there for, like, a day or two. But then there's the whole dead god thing.
But yeah, I mean, you also wanted to work for this, so...
Yeah, I think... This is so bad. Why does my mind confuse?
Do it.
Don't judge me for this. The thought that I had is he has to go, like, find a grave somewhere and, like...
And desecrate it?
Get some, like, dig it up and get the bones out.
So desecrate it.
Yeah, and, like, burn the bones. And he has, like, a little campfire of bones. And then if he sits there, an animal will notice it and be like, I'm actually a spirit.
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
That makes him dig up a grave. That's not easy.
Yeah. So this is the question then. There's a couple of questions here. I'm trying to think of... My mind just went blank. I had a thing to ask you, and now I've forgotten it. Does it matter what kind of body? Like, what determines what animal comes to him? Is there any more like specific factors, or is it literally just anyone who happens to do this will just a spirit familiar will find them?
Well, I think he has to have some of my black orchid tea also, because I don't want anybody who burns bones to get a special animal, you know?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So maybe that. Like, it has to be this whole thing where maybe he has to find the orchids because that's more work.
And maybe he has to make the black orchid tea over the bones of the fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then drink it, and then the animal will come to him.
Yeah, that sounds like he's just on drugs, but it's not.
Mean,
this whole thing is.
There's a thing about the black orchids, guys. You wait. Yeah. You just wait.
Uh-oh.
So basically, his tasks are find a grave. Can he use one of the graves that he's currently standing in, or does he have to go like find some other body? What?
Those are mine.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. So find a grave, dig it up, make a fire, burn the bones, make tea, and then drink it.
Yeah, with black orchids.
With the black orchids. Are you giving him the black orchids? Does he have to find them?
I think I'll give him one, but he has to find some more. Just so because
he knows what it looks like, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a boy. He doesn't know anything. He'll be like, find more of these.
He doesn't know anything. Okay, cool. Let me...
About flowers, I meant. He's not an idiot.
Let's see. I am just currently... I'm looking at his, because I'm making his character sheet right now. I'm trying to help him out here a bit and make it so that he has a chance at this. Okay. All right, so first step, he has to find a grave. Let's see. Doesn't matter if it's an animal. Like, does it have to be a human, like an actual buried body, or can it just be animal bones he finds?
Maybe it's animal bones, and that's the kind of animal it like resurrects.
That's kind of cool.
That. Yeah.
So he could also kill an animal, technically.
No, I think it has to be old bones.
Old bones. Okay.
Dry bones. They can't be wet bones.
Right. I'm trying to think of what he would roll to do that specifically. Let's see.
Hiking.
What'd you say?
Hiking? Like he's got to walk around.
Right, but because the main thing he's finding here is like trying to find like a dead animal. So let's see. He doesn't have any like... Okay, so his skills are animal husbandry, cooking, doctrine, farming, fire building, mending, and temple-wise.
Okay, here we go. Maybe they like sacrifice lots of animals at the temple, and he knows where the dump is for like leftovers.
Oh, that's probably true. Yeah. We've already established that. He probably doesn't even have to. He'll have to roll temple-wise to know where the dump is, but he doesn't have to roll to know that they sacrifice animals because we already know that. Okay, cool. So that's what he'll do first. He'll do temple-wise, and he will go ahead and try that. So temple-wise, he has a 2 in temple-wise. What is the ob? I don't know. I don't think this would be terribly difficult. Like, I think, honestly, this would probably be common knowledge. It's not like they keep it a secret where they dump the bodies of the sacrificial animals. So I think it's going to be an ob 1 then. So he has doctrine that he can fork in. And so there you go, ob 1. There you go. Success. He has passed the first test. Yeah. So we see him. I think what he does actually is he knows the general area, right? Because he lives in a village not too far from here. Or he used to anyway. And so I think he just goes to his temple's village, or his village's temple. And just right outside of their village, this is where they just dump the bodies, and he digs through the bones to the very bottom of the pile to get like the oldest carcass, right? And I'll make a roll for him for that to like dig it out. Basically just a power test. And I think what this will be is a graduated test, and the higher successes he gets, the better bones he finds. Okay, so we got a 3. So pretty good bones, not the best bones he could have found. Okay. Do you have an idea what animal it should be?
I want it to be something different because we already have 2 reptilian-esque animals and birds.
2 birds. Yeah.
Birds. So
counting Avra's bird, you know.
Yeah. I feel like we need something feline or canine.
Or rodentia.
No. Not a fan of that. Preferably like, I don't know, like something bigger. Like a wolf would be super neat, but that might be like the
I'm gonna type into Pinterest fantasy animal concept art, and I'm gonna see what's like variation on that sort of theme comes up for me. Get some inspiration here.
Fox or a badger. I'm not against a badger.
I could see that.
Because it has to be black, obviously. Well, actually, no, it doesn't. Never mind. I lied.
Yeah, because
my animals are.
Yeah, yours are black. He has like brown hair. Just as a note. Yeah, I think it's gonna be. I found a pin here that I'll send you guys in chat. It's basically like for stream. It's basically like a kind of like a mink mixed with a fox. So this like forest animal that digs through stuff. Probably eats other small animals. There is the pin. And yeah, so he finds that. He finds that those bones. And yeah, the next step is build fire. Which, you know what? He has the skill of fire building.
Perfect.
All right. He has a skill fire building at a 3. Let's look at the odds for fire building. Yeah, luckily he just happens to have the right skills to make this work. Fire building. He just needs to make a campfire. It doesn't... Oh, you know what? Okay, so I gave him the unlucky trait. So I'm going to say it's wet out today.
Oh.
Right? So he has a +1 obstacle, so it's an ob2 instead of an ob1 to build this fire correctly. So normally it would be really easy, but it's wet.
But he has dry bones.
He has dry bones, but the ground is wet, right? Like it's hard. It's difficult for him to like find some place that's like going to be dry enough. Let's see here. You can do fire building. Does he have any other stuff that... What does the skill farming actually cover? Prodigious knowledge of seeding, planting, and harvesting. Yeah, that doesn't help. Mending. Form and function of everything on the farm. This skill allows the character to fix, repair, or darn just about anything. You know what? I think he can get a fork from mending.
Yay.
Here we go. Yeah, very nice. Right in the money. He builds his fire correctly. Now and we'll say in the meantime, while he's letting the fire kind of gather steam, he looks around for some black orchids, and he's going to use his farming skill to know about plants. It's not going to be as effective as if he had like an actual like flower related skill, but it's peripheral enough that it can help. Let's see. Farming. We are farmers. It's gonna be it's gonna be an ob 3 for him. He has a 3 in the skill. Don't think he gets any forks for this. So we'll just see. Oops. Well, he failed. I didn't put the right ob in. But he failed.
No.
So he doesn't find the black orchids. I think he's going to try to make the tea as best he can out of the one that you gave him. Right? And see how that goes. So, wait a second.
Animal's going to be so stupid. It's going to be all derp.
That's hilarious.
I so want that to be the case.
I do a little bit, honestly. It's like a dorky little mink fox thing.
Exactly. Okay, so he is going to do a cooking roll to make the tea. No, again, not as good as if he had an actual, like, the exact skill he needs, but he can make it work. He has farming to fork. No, he can't fork in farming because he failed. Failed on the farming test. He gets the modifier for the fire building test. But I think that is it. And cooking, he was doing so well. Come on, buddy, you got this. Okay, it's giving me an up 3. Oof, nope.
No.
That's a nope.
This animal.
Okay, so he's trying real hard. He makes a really wimpy tea. He doesn't even really know how to make tea, but he tries. Yeah, I mean, there are a couple of possibilities here. It could be like a derpy animal, but I feel like that's too innocent for him. Like, I feel like he has the unlucky trait, so I feel like this needs to be bad. Like,
I think animal wakes up and attacks him.
I think it's more like he gets possessed.
Oh.
Right? Like, instead of getting a fun animal companion, he opens up his soul to a demon. Right?
My poor boy.
So he sees this little mink fox thing, like on the edge of the firelight, right? It's gotten dark by this point. It just like creeps up, and its eyes are shining in the moonlight, right? And the firelight is twinkling off of its irises. And he looks over, and it cocks its head, and he's at first he's like, all right, come here, little guy. I think you're supposed to help me out. And the mink, starts to kind of just innocently walk forward. And then I think literally what happens is we see the mink just like lunge at him, go onto his face, and he's like going on the ground, like doing this. And then the mink forces itself into his mouth and down his throat. And it's a horrific scene to watch because it's like pretty good size, but we see his esophagus unnaturally expand as the thing just like crawls inside of him, and he's just he's just spasming on the ground. Now, Ophelia, the question is, are you watching him with your raven?
Oh.
Or with Verdant, or whatever is the other your snake's name is?
I think Scion's my watcher boy.
Okay. Yeah, so, I mean, your raven will be able to relay this to you, that this is what happened. And this is not what happens. I mean, Ophelia, you have these 2 spirit familiar type things, right? But you have, like, control over them. Like, that's the main difference, I think, between Althea and Perrin and you, is they didn't get control of their animals, and you have control over them. Right, you're the master, and in the case of Perrin and Althea, they are the servants to the demons. And so this horrific, he's just spasming on the ground, and then we eventually just get him. He just goes limp, and then eventually the mink just like his head pops out of the mouth and looks around, and he's like slimily like crawls out, and Perrin coughs. And then looks over at the mink. And then just, I think, says, "We are one. We are one. We are one." And I think Perrin has been officially inducted into your cult in a very traumatic fashion.
My poor boy.
Yep.
I wanted that to go different. He's a baby.
And I think that the last thing we get, Ophelia, of your kind of scenes here is he comes back, right? Scion flies in ahead, kind of relays you what happened. And then a couple minutes later, he walks into your camp again. And he has this little mink fox thing trailing him. I think he just walks up to you, and he seems to have gotten a bit of a spine, and he walks over to you, and he says, I'm grabbing a name for the animal quick so he can introduce it to you. Come on. There we go.
What's the salamander's name? I forgot.
Red. It was probably like, it's probably whatever the word in this language for red is. But yeah. He's got to be a good one. Oh, perfect. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, I love this name. Okay. So he walks up to you and he says, Mistress Ophelia, may I introduce you to Polydora? And he points down at his little mink thing and he says, she has shown me many things, many interesting things. I think I understand far more than I did before. And he just like kind of prostrates himself before you and he says, I would be absolutely honored to learn from you. I want to know the gods like you do.
Okay, have I given him a raven feather yet?
I don't know. Maybe not. I feel like not.
Okay, I think I finally invite him into my house because he hasn't been allowed in there yet.
Right.
So, because Althea's still gone, is she?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so I do my thing where I don't tell him what I'm doing, but I just open my door and I walk in and I sit down, like in my little spot. And he just, at this point, he knows what to do, and so he just sits down. And I have some properly brewed tea.
Perfect.
And then.
Yeah, he kind of shivers with like when he has the warmth because it's kind of cold out today, and he just like shivers as the warmth of the tea goes down. And I think Polydora skitters over to you and puts one little like paw on your hand, and like what happened with Red before, you understand there's a communication that opens up, and then Polydora says, "Ophelia, I have come to you. She says, Ophelia, I have interrupted the process of your acolyte's ritual. I apologize, but I need him and I need you. Something has happened. Someone that you can use is at your disposal. I need you to find him." Yeah, so you get the sense that like maybe it was gonna work like the normal way, but then this demon like kind of intercepted whatever animal was going to, become Perrin's spirit familiar, and this more kind of like aggressive, probably higher level demon kind of took over instead.
Yeah. And I don't know what to do because my instinct was to just kind of look at the little gal, I guess.
Yeah.
And just kind of nod, and then just kind of play towards the animal part of her, and just like give her a little piece of meat, and like scruff her little head, and then give her back to Perrin.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think I give Perrin a raven feather.
Nice. Awesome. And so I feel that the place you need to go to find the person, like, you know, the Polydora just gave you this information in your head. You have a beeline in your mind to a tavern called the Lonely Cliff.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and take a break there, and we'll come back and continue with Death on the Madness right after these messages. This has been a fantastic session so far. Stick around.